Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with Today in Sports Betting, the NFL version. As Scott and I are taking a look at every game on the card for Saturday and Sunday and giving our opinions as far as what we think will happen. So, Scott, you excited?
Yeah, I know that usually it's the Sunday edition that's happening on Friday, but it's really meant for Saturday. But now it's the Saturday edition that's still filmed on Friday that should be posted on Saturday.
Yeah. And the problem is we tape about 6 o'clock Eastern time on Friday night. However, the guy that does the final editing and everything, he's a little ahead of us as far as time goes. So right now it's the middle of the night for him. So that's why we don't get him posted for usually, 4 or 5 hours after we shoot them. So
Yep.
if anybody ever wondered, I thought they said Friday night, and I didn't see this till Saturday morning. Well, that's the reason. So.
Mm-hmm. Did I confuse you with that introduction on it being Saturday's version, but Friday, but not actually? So that's kind of how that works.
Yes, exactly. So the first contest that we have, and I think as far as I know, Scott, we've only got one game without a line, without an official line on it. Is that how you found it as well?
For the most part, I see a handful of books started to open up lines on Detroit, Tennessee, which I'm assuming is the game you were talking about.
No, I was actually talking about the
football team and
yeah.
Okay. Do I see a line on that?
Well, now I do see a line on that. Yeah, it is. And
I do. That's why I was confused. I see a couple of books are still waiting on Detroit because Stafford's questionable.
What else is new?
Yeah, but we'll get to that when the time comes.
Pretty soon. Okay, here we go. Starting off with the Saturday game, Scott, and first one on the card. Let me make sure I'm right on this. I think I've got them backwards. No, I don't. I don't know why they were listed that way, but yeah, the rotation number's backwards. Anyway, I've got the Bills and the Broncos. That's going to be the first in chronological order. It's not by rotation order, but chronologically speaking, it's the Bills and Broncos. Bills road favorites 5.5. The total on this one is 49. Scott, what do you got here?
So we have seen some movement on the Bills here. It went from 4.5 currently to 5.5, even available at 6 at some spots, but mostly 5.5. I'm going to lean to Buffalo. I know Denver put together a nice performance last week offensively. Drew Lock looked really sharp. That was also against Carolina and their defense, so let's pump the brakes a little bit. Carolina's defense is awful when they're not facing off against Detroit. This defense is terrible. Denver's defense wasn't even good either. But Lock looked really sharp. They even had a special teams touchdown. Buffalo's coming in off of a very impressive win against the Steelers. If you follow Buffalo the last couple of weeks, this team has been rolling. By the way, I don't know if you knew this. Do you know that nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills? You didn't know that? But, yeah, I'm going to link to the Bills. They're, of course, still fighting for a division title. They have a serious shot at the 2 seed now, assuming that Pittsburgh stumbles one more time.
Right.
So they could potentially move up. Now, of course, that won't lead to a bye, but it gives you the luxury of potentially picking an easier opponent for the playoffs if you're able to hold on. Don't get me wrong. I think Denver is a below-average team, despite the fact that they won. And I know that they're at home, which is a bit of an advantage. But I got to go with Buffalo because I just think that from top to bottom, this team is just so much better.
I don't hate that play, but I'll tell you what I do like is I do like the under 49.
I feel like for some of the reasons I just mentioned about Lock.
Yep. For a lot of the reasons you mentioned. I'm not sold on Drew Lock before that Carolina game when they ran into that pretty bad Carolina defense. They've scored just 51 points in their previous 4 contests, and I think that's they put up 12 against the Raiders. So that pretty much tells you how bad this offense is. I don't see how they're going to generate a ton of points here. I'm not as impressed with the Bills. I think there could be a little bit of a letdown spot here.
Could be.
But I don't see any way that the Denver Broncos, I think there's more likely to be, some problems with the timing on offense and things like that. I don't think there's going to be any lapses defensively. So I'll take the under 49 in that one.
Okay. I mean, for me, the logic here was kind of similarly. I think Denver's offense are going to struggle because Buffalo's defense actually looked a lot sharper over the last couple of weeks. Plus, if Denver got torched by Bridgewater and company last week, got Josh Allen coming to town. That's not exactly I'd say an easier opposition. are an easier opponent for you to deal with. So I'll lean to Buffalo to win by at least a touchdown.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on, taking a look at the Panthers and Packers. Packers -9 in this one, 51.5. Is the total, Scott, do we have signs of life here with the Panthers, with Teddy Bridgewater back, or is it going to make a difference as the Packers really have to kind of, they have to circle the wagons, Scott? Is that what they have to do here?
Did you say Carolina showing signs of life?
Well,
no.
I'm talking about their offense had been pretty.
Yeah, Bridgewater looked good last week, but at the end of the day, you're looking at this Packers team that's 10-3. They're 5-1 at home. They have been cruising as they've won each of their last 3 games by at least 7 points. The Detroit game last week was somewhat close. Philly, they won pretty handily, and then Chicago, they won pretty handily before garbage time. The issue I have here with Carolina is that this team simply cannot stop anybody. Gave up 28 to Minnesota, gave up 32 to Denver, gave up 46 to Tampa. Not exactly ideal. I know you have seen a little bit of money coming on in Carolina because it has gone from -9 to around -8 market wide. A little bit of money coming in on the over here. I'm going to back the over. I think that even though it's a little bit cold in Wisconsin now, there's not supposed to be any snow or anything, so the weather shouldn't be that big of a factor. Green Bay's probably good for, what do you think here, 34?
Got to think 34, yeah.
Like something like that. It's just a matter of looking at Carolina and saying, where are your stops coming from? I mean, if you're getting torched by Drew Lock through the air, you might have a potential MVP in Rodgers, dicing you up. They got no answer for Devontae Adams. Absolutely nothing. So I think Adams will have a big game. Tanyan's also a good tight end. You have Lazard, who's getting more and more snaps every week. I think Green Bay should score at least 34 points, and I think that Carolina's good enough offensively to score, I'd say, 20. So for that reason, I'm going to lean to the over. I think Green Bay wins 34-20, give or take.
Yeah, I think that's right in the ballpark. The Packers have shown an inclination to kind of take their foot off the gas late in games when they have big leads. They're not a great cover team.
Yeah.
But they do give up late touchdowns that are meaningless except for folks that have them to cover the number. I think that's a good play right there. I think that we can certainly count on Green Bay for 31 plus. And that just puts the Panthers over 21, and I think that's a good play right there.
Yep.
All right, so moving on to our Sunday game, Scott. Starting off with the Texans and Colts. Colts 7-point favorite, 50.5 is the total right there. What say you, my friend?
Well, I definitely like this game a lot more at 7.5. I know that Watson kind of injured his wrist last week, and yet nobody's really talking about it because I guess Watson is just fine to play even though the game's meaningless for Houston. I don't really know what Houston's playing for, if I'm being honest, and it could be both good and bad. Cornell's not coming back next year as the head coach. That's just not going to happen. Other than that, though, this team already has been eliminated from the playoffs, so they got nothing to play for. And they also don't even own their own first-round draft pick because Miami does. So there's no incentive to tank either. They're kind of just in no man's land at this point because if you win games, congratulations. You just, aren't going to make the playoffs anyway. And if you lose games, well, Miami probably ends up with a top 10 pick. So really no incentive either way for Houston. But at the end of the day, the Colts just beat this team by 6. Houston probably should have won the game. Houston had first and goal at about the 8, and then you had a terrible snap and Indianapolis recovered. So that game was very, very close down to the wire. But I can't back Houston here. I just can't. The Colts, this team bothers me because Phillip Rivers is so inconsistent, but this offensive line, and now they finally got Taylor going, who really had a good game against Houston the first time around. I just have to think the Colts are just going to take care of business here. So I would take it at 7 if you can still find it. I know BetOnline still has a little bit of a juice 7.
Yeah.
I'll take the Colts here. I just think that at home with a team that's basically about to clinch a playoff berth, there's just so much more on the line for Indianapolis. I'll take the Colts.
Yeah, I don't love the Colts in a cover spot. Although they've covered 4 out of their last 5. So I think a lot of that just perception. But it seemed a team that just seems to be kind of doing it with mirrors, without a serious passing attack or a real running attack. But you're right, Taylor is getting better. They need to get their defense back on track. Their defense was dominating for the first part of the season, and they've been less than great the last 4 weeks. So we'll see if they get back on track against the Houston offense that struggled all year long, especially to run the football. Yeah, I don't love it, but I'll play with.
It's really a tough game that I would pass on. But if we're
Yep.
talking about every game, I have to lean Colts. I can't give
Yep.
out the Texans.
I agree. I agree on that one.
I'm assuming you agree with me that Cornell's not coming back next year.
No, he's like 100. So
yeah.
No, I really think he's like 75, 73.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think that's something he wants, and I definitely don't think it's the people. Something anybody in Houston wants. I think they're going to get a new GM and a new head coach and start.
That's why the motivation's a problem for some teams. The Chargers make the argument yesterday were, trying to fight for Lynn's job or whatever because the guy has a shot maybe to come back. There's no chance Cornell's coming back, and your team has nothing to play for at all. No. So that's kind of the main difference there. I think motivation's a problem for Houston.
Okay. Lions and Titans. Titans are currently -11.
Is this a dream come true, by the way, for you? Because you have multiple Missouri starting quarterbacks for the game.
What's it? Where are you talking?
You have Chase Daniel.
Oh, is Stafford officially not going?
And you have Drew Lock. Stafford's questionable.
Detroit, dude, not Denver. Oh, you meant for the
multiple quarterbacks from the University of Missouri.
Oh, I thought you meant in the same game.
No, I meant multiple quarterbacks who are starting, most likely, from the University of Missouri.
All we need is for Tom Brady to get hurt now and have Blaine Gabbert come in, and we'll be good to go.
That's the trifecta right there. I don't think the world's ready for that.
Oh, it's yeah. So without Stafford going, and
Stafford might play for the record. Once again, why bother? Didn't you just pay Stafford a bunch of money?
Yeah, he's been fighting that thumb for what, 5 weeks now?
Yeah, but the point is the Lions own their own draft pick. Why aren't you trying to tank? Your team's terrible.
They've obviously replaced their head coach lately.
And they fired their GM, so you know that this team acknowledges they're bad and they're going to have to rebuild in the future. I don't know why Stafford would play in this game.
Is there and I'm more concerned. Well, not, I mean, you ask a good question, but, this Lions defense is just
the defense is a separate story because they're just really bad.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then offense is going to be missing some other pieces. It looks like, Galladay's moved up to doubtful.
I saw him move to out according to my Yahoo Fantasy app.
Is he officially out now?
Pretty sure he's out.
Yeah, I've had him on my fantasy team, and I know he hasn't played for like 4 weeks in a row. And I think he came back 1 week and was awful.
He should be done for the season, honestly.
Yeah, I would certainly think so. You've also got other problems. You're missing your center in Ragnow, and you're missing your right tackle.
And Ragnow's good.
Yeah, he is actually probably the best member of that offensive line, I would say.
I'd have to say so.
And of course, he's going to be out. And a lot of things that the center does. Number one, they call all the offensive blocking schemes. So that's not nothing, as the kids say, Scott. Hand's going to be out along that defensive line.
Akuda and company still might be out. I know they missed the last couple of games as well.
I've got Akuda listed on IR, but
okay. So as I said,
I've got Trufant and Akuda both, as well as Tony McRae.
So therefore, as I said, I thought maybe they were not on IR, but I guess I was incorrect. But either way, they're not playing. So add more injury people to talk about.
And Darryl Roberts, who started in Akuda's place, he's going to be out as well. So they're going to be getting to.
So they just to make sure they got a backup center, potential backup quarterback, a backup coach, a backup GM, and they also have no secondary.
And a backup wide receiver one, yeah.
Yes, perfect.
And backup cornerback.
And they're facing a team that's fighting for a division title.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it should be in good shape.
Yeah, I don't care if Stafford plays or not, for the record. I think Tennessee's going to win anyway, but I think if Stafford does not play, how much do you think Stafford's worth for a point spread?
In this particular case?
Just in general. You're talking about the drop-off between him and Chase Daniel. Like 2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
I'm going to take Tennessee because this reminds me a lot of the Jacksonville game last week. You're just going to see a team that can't stop the run. Yep. Tennessee's still trying to win. And the offense that the Lions are going to throw out there, I think has to resemble some form of Mike Glennon offense that we saw last week, is Jaguars couldn't do anything.
No.
So, yeah, I'll take the Titans because I just think it'll be deja vu from last week.
Yeah, they're just going to run the ball right down their throat.
Do you think there's an extra incentive for Vrabel to try to get Henry to 2,000 yards? There has been some talks that since he is around 400 and change yards away, that Vrabel might just force feed him. Maybe.
I think he's probably. I think
the game plan already involves giving the ball a bunch anyway. I'm just curious.
I think he has a limit on the number of times he's going to give him the ball, and if he happens to go over in that time period, then great. I don't think he's going to force. I don't think he's going to force any more than he wants to force him.
I'm just throwing it out there because last year they did force feed him for 1 week. I believe it was against the Raiders.
Yep.
Just to try to get him the rushing leader title, and he got it, but they gave him like 30-something carries in the process. So that's
you cannot abuse these backs.
I agree.
You got an extra year out of Henry, and you've been extremely lucky to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But
he is so good.
You cannot give these backs 400 carries a year.
No, I agree. I'm just throwing it out there because I know that some people had been talking about that possibility, and I don't think Detroit's going to offer any resistance. So, do you think Henry's another 200-yard game tonight, in this one?
I think it's
possible.
Very possible. Yeah, this is the really bad Detroit defense gives us 140 yards rushing a game. That's to normal teams.
Plus, A.J. Brown's also been banged up. Corey Davis a bit banged up. So you have a little bit of slight injuries in the receiving core.
Yeah.
I definitely think that could lead to a more run-heavy approach.
Yeah, and even though that's the case, I still think they cover the 11.
Yeah, I think Tennessee wins by 2 touchdowns.
All right, very good. Bucks and Falcons. Buccaneers 6-point road favorites, 48.5 is the total. Scott, on that one, I wouldn't say I was all in on Atlanta, but I was impressed with what Atlanta had done defensively since they fired Quinn until last week. And it did not go well for the Falcons as they tried to get something going against the Chargers of all teams.
That wasn't the defensive issue, though. That was the offense.
Yeah, they didn't give up. They didn't give up a ton on defense, but they gave up just enough. They were unable to get big stops when they needed them. And yeah, inexplicably, the offense sold them down the river. And this is an offense. You think about Atlanta having the high-scoring offense, but 3 of their last 5, Scott, they've scored 17 or less. And I think that's a real possibility against this Tampa Bay team. Tampa Bay is really good at turning you one-dimensional and then getting after the passer. The Falcons have no rushing game anyway, so they're not going to run the ball, and it's just going to be pin your ears back and let that defense do their thing.
And from what you could tell from last week, Matt Ryan is I don't want to say he's completely washed, as we've talked about earlier this year. It's like a broken record talking about these old quarterbacks, but Ryan is definitely just not there. He's just not the guy that people expect him to be based on name alone. And I know he had the one outlier MVP year, but if you're expecting Matt Ryan to single-handedly carry you to a win, you're going to lose the majority of the time. That's where he's at in his career. He just can't do it. I'm assuming you agree with that. He just forces too many mistakes.
Yeah, he really tries to put too much on his shoulders. He's always been that way. He's always had a little bit too much Brett Favre in him without Favre talent.
I think Matt Ryan, during at least his entire career, which I've been around for, might be one of the kings of the red zone interception. I have seen so many red zone interceptions from Matt Ryan throughout his entire career. It's actually crazy. And I think you've noticed that too.
I'd be curious to see if that's anecdotal, because sometimes things like that stand out and you look them up and you're like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't.
Remember it for like 6 years, he keeps throwing picks in the red zone.
It certainly seems that way. I would agree with that. I'm not gonna make a big deal of this. I think I don't love this Tampa Bay team, but I think they're a touchdown better than Atlanta. I'll take Tampa Bay minus the 6. There.
The truth is that even with everything you just said, I'm really confused by the line movement in this one. I know that Tampa's better than Atlanta. This game really moved 2.5. They moved about 3 points, 2.5 to 3 points. What the hell did Tampa show last week? They showed that Dan Bailey can't kick. Like, yeah. I don't really know what I saw from Tampa. Now, I know Arian said, we did whatever we want. We're ready to go. Congratulations. Minnesota had the ball roughly 40 minutes. Like, you weren't very good. You just won the game anyway because Minnesota kept missing field goals. But I don't want to lay 6 with this Tampa team.
Okay.
I'm going to lean to Atlanta. Am I thrilled about it? No. I think Tampa will win. But until I actually see Tampa put together a solid 60-minute performance, I think Atlanta can hang around. There's one thing that Atlanta's good at is hanging around and falling short. So I think that Tampa will win the game, but I think they'll win by maybe 3. I know that Tampa's down a starting running back. They're going to be using Fournette for the majority because Ronald Jones is out.
Well, Julio Jones is going to be out, of course, again for Atlanta.
No, correct. I'm just throwing it out there that the Tampa situation, Fournette was a healthy scratch last week. Now he's handling most of your carries. It's a little weird, don't you think?
Yeah, that is certainly an odd promotion, but
Julio's, don't get me wrong, Julio being out's important, but realistically, even when he's in, has he really done anything this year?
No.
He's been injured all year long, whether he's playing or he's not playing.
Here's the deal. The Vikings last week should have won that game. You can certainly make the argument about Dan Bailey missing those kicks. But
how does he still have a job?
They were competitive only because they were able to successfully run the football. With Dalvin Cook was able to just put it on his back and run the football.
And I know Atlanta can't do that.
No, and Atlanta can't do that. And the 3 games prior to that, Tampa Bay had given up 87 or less on the ground.
Gurley's done. What we said about Gurley before the year is 100% right. If you look at what he's done the last month and a half, he's been useless. But looking through everything else, it's a division rivalry game. I think 6 is too many. Okay. I think Tampa will win, but I do think Atlanta will hang around, and you'll probably be on a red zone looking at some scores, and you'll say, Atlanta's, kind of hanging around a little bit. And then it's just going to be like, oh, here's a terrible interception by Ryan in the fourth quarter. But I think that Atlanta will lose, but lose close.
Chase that steam, buddy. Chase that steam.
Well, that's what people are doing with Tampa. I'm just going to take the 6.5. I'll probably wait till it goes to 7, to be honest, but I doubt it'll get there. But you already see 6.5 showing up, so you never know. I might wait it out, and if it gets to 7, maybe that's worth a shot. Getting a home dog plus 7, that's really not that bad.
In a divisional game?
Yeah, that's really just a solid, spot right there.
New England, Miami. Miami is the home team here, minus 1.5. 41.5 is the total for this one.
I despise everything about this game from a betting perspective. There's so many different variables at play. New England has no offense, but Belichick is a god against rookie quarterbacks. So you can make the argument that both quarterbacks are going to look disastrous as a result. Do I really want to take the under at 41.5 in good weather in Miami? I think I have to. I think I have to lean to the under. Because I just saw New England play on Thursday. They scored 3 points. I know that the Rams' defense is elite. I don't think Miami's defense is that far behind. I think Miami's defense is top 5. I think
very good.
Miami's defense is top 2.
It's a very, very good defense.
I like the under. It's low, but I like the under.
Okay. Well, it's you can certainly make the argument for it. Obviously, the Patriots have gone under in their last 5.
I'm not taking the over. I'll tell you that much. So for that reason, I'll take the under because Tua. Don't get me wrong. I know he was great in college. I know that he's been winning some games in Miami. Still not really sure why Fitzpatrick's not playing because they are in danger of missing the playoffs. But you look at Tua. Does he really throw it to anybody besides his tight ends? And now Gesicki's probably out for this game. He doesn't throw to Devontae Parker, and Parker's now somewhat injured.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any, I don't know where he's going to throw the ball to. And Belichick, you saw what he did to Herbert. I'm concerned that Tua's going to struggle. And I know for a fact Newton's going to struggle because Newton is washed. So I'll lean to the under.
Okay. I'm just checking everybody's everybody's banged up for this one. Keep an eye on the injury report for sure because
I'm saying Miami's missing a couple of weapons potentially for this game.
Yeah, they're missing potentially a couple of wide receivers.
Is Parker officially out or is he still questionable?
I've got everybody is questionable. I got nobody out right now.
Okay, I know Gesicki probably separated his shoulder, so he's probably not going to play. But
just a flesh wound. He's fine.
'Tis a flesh wound? Yeah. We'll see. But either way, it's just a matter of I don't think Tua spreads the wealth enough to other receivers. He pretty much only looks for his tight ends over the middle of the field. That's pretty much the only source of his productivity. I think Belichick will take that away. So I like the under.
I'll take New England. I'll take points.
That's fair. If I was going to – that's the issue, though, is do I really want to lay it with Cam? But I do like the rest advantage for New England playing on Thursday the week before. So I agree with you, but I'll lean to the under instead.
All right. And now, Scott's America's newest darlings. It's the Washington football team as they take on the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's traveling to Washington for this one. They are a 6.5-point road favorite.
Haskins season. The man is back.
How about 43 for a total in a Seattle game?
It's rather low.
Even the bookmakers are just daring Haskins to throw the ball.
It's the Haskins saga has been a pretty fascinating story this year. He was the original starter, got benched immediately to third string. Then he violated COVID protocols basically on purpose to try to get traded. And now he's starting again in a game like about a month and a half later. So it's kind of you couldn't write a script like that. Believe it or not, there's a reason why Haskins got benched. It's because he's pretty bad. And I believe you saw that against the 49ers last week. He came in out of relief. I know it's different because he wasn't probably expecting to play at all, but he didn't really look good. Seattle's defense has actually looked a lot better over the last couple of weeks. But then again, when you also face off against the Giants, I mean, the Giants did well on the ground, but you know what I mean? They didn't give up many points. You face off against the Giants and the Jets offenses and the Eagles. Of course, your defense is going to look better. So you haven't really faced anybody here. Yeah, I like Seattle because why would I take Haskins?
Yeah. I'm with you. I know everybody loves it. Everybody's in love with this Washington defense.
Don't be wrong. Like, this defense is very good, and Chase Young is a problem. He's a serious problem, and he was my pick to win Defensive Rookie of the Year for a reason. He's just insanely talented. But I don't know where your points are going to come from. Is Gibson even close to 100%?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So you can't run the ball. You have a quarterback who is one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion.
Probably the worst.
Yeah, and you're against Russell Wilson and a very, very good receiving core. So I will take Seattle.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If it was Smith, then maybe I'd take the points, but I can't. I think there's actually a drop-off there.
Oh, yeah. There's a huge drop-off, yeah. Between a veteran quarterback that's won every place he's been, and Dwayne Haskins, yeah, there's a little bit of a
That's the thing, though, is that we talked about the drop-off between Stafford and Daniel, but Daniel actually has some experience where he's actually looked somewhat decent as a backup quarterback in the past.
Yeah, he looks like a competent backup, which is why people keep paying him, $5-6 million a year.
I don't know what Haskins even looks like. Is he a Canadian Football League player? Like, he's not an NFL player. I'll tell you that much.
He plays quarterback like he's a wide receiver.
I'm not saying that. I know he's very young, so maybe they can work something around. Usually you can tell sometimes with the eye test, this guy ain't it. Dwayne Haskins ain't it.
Don't see it.
So, I'll take Seattle.
He needed another year or two in college.
Yeah.
All right, next up.
And I'm not touching that total because Haskins alone can throw 2 pick sixes, and all of a sudden your under looks pretty bad.
I like the over there.
I'll
tell you what, I'd play Seattle team total over.
That's really fair.
No confidence in
I think if you wanted to go for a spin, you could potentially take defensive or special teams touchdown. Because you have the chance for the Washington to generate an interception, which Wilson has actually thrown a decent amount over the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And then you also have Haskins, who is the king of awful turnovers behind maybe Daniel Jones. So, yeah, maybe that's a sprinkle if you want a decent plus value play.
Like it. Bears Vikes, Scott, little NFC North battle there up in the friendly confines of the big ship.
I gotta bring it up because I mentioned it briefly, or I kind of shouted it out. How does Dan Bailey still have a job? What is happening? Did they not watch the last 2 games?
Yeah.
You can't use him. Why is he on the roster? I also don't know why Badgley's on the Chargers roster, but that's a separate story. I just don't. There's so many bad kickers, and it seems like that either they're blackmailing the coaches or maybe they're just like a long-lost son or something because they just don't get rid of anybody.
Because there's nothing but excess kickers out there. They would have no problem at all bringing guys through. Let's face it, Scott, in today's NFL, if you're not hitting 90% from inside of 50, there's no place for you.
I think 90 is a bit high. I'd say maybe around 80-something and change, but all I know is
inside of 50?
If Dan Bailey came out for a 30-yard kick, I think you would miss at this point because he has no confidence at all. So why are you even bothering? I think that's going to play a factor in this game. I'm not saying I think Chicago's going to cover or that they're not going to cover, but I'm just saying that don't you think that's a massive red flag if the team that's laying points can't kick? That's a serious problem.
They said that about the cat in Tennessee.
Oh, Gostkowski?
Gostkowski that had the horrible, and he kind of righted the ship, although he still has the weird misses on occasion. Yep. But I think anybody can have a bad day, even a bad 2 weeks. I don't think if you've got a veteran kicker like Dan Bailey, I don't think 2 weeks necessarily costs you your job.
I think you should at least bring in another kicker to compete. You're fighting for a playoff spot. I know the veteran status is important, but you're on the cusp of a wild card spot. You can't afford to cause any type of miscues whatsoever.
Well, you're not exactly on the cusp, but you've got a shot at a wild card spot.
I'm saying you're still in the hunt.
You definitely need this game against the Bears.
They needed the game last week, but that didn't happen. So.
They're all playoff games for Minnesota from here on out.
Correct. So I don't think Minnesota's fully going to get in, but wouldn't you agree that not having a quality kicker you can rely on is definitely a variable you don't exactly want to have to worry about?
Well, either way, you're going to have a kicker you can't depend on because if you bring in somebody new, they're going to be untested. You don't know what they're going to do under live fire.
Do you have more faith in the untested kicker or the current status of Dan Bailey?
Give me the veteran.
Okay. Yep. I don't know, but I'm shocked he still has a job, personally.
Just if a pitcher goes out and gets if Corey Kluber or if Bieber goes out and gets shelled 2 weeks in a row, you're not getting rid of him. Right? Okay,
that's fair.
All right, so let's see what. And of course, having said all this and defended Bailey, he'll probably cost them this game again. So
I think he might. You have extra points.
I know you do.
I mean, first of all, I'll link to Chicago. Now, am I doing this because Trubisky won me over with one good week? Hell no. I still think Trubisky's terrible. So it's not because of that.
But you're using your logic. He had a great week, so he must be the best quarterback ever.
Well, for fantasy owners, he might have been. But looking at what happened just with these teams the first time they played, Chicago's offense fell apart in the second half. They had, 60 total yards of offense in the second half?
Not good. Not good.
But the point is Minnesota's offense couldn't do anything either. So Minnesota's offense did nothing. Chicago's had a special teams touchdown, which has been kind of an issue for Minnesota. They've had a lot of special teams issues. But when in doubt between two flawed teams in a must-win game, I'll take the points. I'll take Chicago.
I'll take the home team, and I'll take the team that didn't tally just 169 total yards in their first meeting.
But Trubisky provides a spark.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what they want to tell you. But
yeah, well, he should provide a spark and burn that whole team down.
I do think that one thing Chicago does really well, though, is they're really good against Dalvin Cook, historically speaking. They're really good at stopping him. So I do think they might force Cousins to make some throws, and that could be a problem. So we'll see.
All right, fair enough. Moving on to another barn burner here, Jags at Ravens. Ravens.
I feel like we don't really have to spend much time on this game.
13 points favorites, 48 is the total. Anyway, the Ravens don't cover this number.
Bunch of garbage time touchdowns by Minshew. That's really the only way that I see it because Baltimore, must-win game. They had the thrilling victory against, of course, the Browns on Monday night. So they have a little bit of a rest disadvantage, but Jacksonville, they're just trying to lose. In fact, I don't even know why Minshew's playing.
Well, they'd stuck around. They'd had two good games in a row against Minnesota and Cleveland where they'd stuck around. They really deserved to kind of win that game against Minnesota. And they beat the number. They beat the number against Green Bay. Another game.
And Tennessee smacked them.
Tennessee smacked them last week.
The issue I have with Jacksonville, they can't stop the run. And Tennessee exploited that, and all Baltimore does is run the ball.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Tennessee ran for 249 yards against them.
I just got to ask you, though, why is Minshew starting this game?
I think they want to know who's going to be their quarterback going forward, Scott.
I'm assuming they're drafting somebody with the second pick.
I don't know, man.
It doesn't make any sense to me because you can make the argument, well, Minshew wasn't getting it done. I actually think Minshew's not that bad.
Who's the second best quarterback in the draft?
Oh, fair.
Take.
Based on general consensus, I think Jackson will take Fields. Do I think he's the second best quarterback in the draft? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I think that based on all the projections and whatever, I think Fields will probably be the second quarterback taken.
Yeah, give me another Ohio State quarterback because they've got a great.
I don't think he's going to pan out, but if you're talking about on mock drafts and what everyone thinks, I think you'll agree with me. Fields is projected to be the second quarterback taken. I personally would take Zach Wilson. I'm a huge Zach Wilson guy.
Yeah, I know you are.
But you're not fully sold on Wilson either. So
we'll see.
I think he's starting to win you over a little bit.
Well, he didn't win me over against Coastal, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, actually, I thought he looked pretty good.
It's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, guess what? Defenses are tougher than Coastal in the NFL.
Fair enough. But just looking through Jacksonville's team, Minshew's clearly better than Mike Glennon. And yet they decided to take him out because he was quote-unquote injured, even though Minshew probably could have returned about 3 weeks ago. And now they just decided, you know what, Mike Glennon, we've lost every game that we've played with you, but we went to overtime and we almost won a couple of games. So we're putting Minshew back out there. Like, why? You're trying to go 1-15. What are you even doing? Put a running back at quarterback. Who cares?
Very nice. How about?
Am I wrong? Because I think Minshew's actually talented.
I think he's
not bad.
Somewhere around 20.
Yeah, I think Glennon's off the board.
Yeah, Glennon's. Yeah, I agree.
So if you're 1-12, then what are you even doing at this point?
You're
going to
doing
put
a
your
terrible
better
job of
quarterback?
not spending any time on this game. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore.
Thanks. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
How about? God, there's just some barn burners here right in a row. How about Niners and Cowboys?
I like the Niners. Now,
a great game in 1987, wasn't it?
Nick Mullins is still the quarterback.
You're a big Mullins fan, aren't you?
It's the same thing every damn week. Every damn week. And they just keep throwing him out there. They just keep throwing him out there. Like, yeah, let's go. I'm like, you realize he can't play. But, whatever. Anyway, Dallas looked pretty good last week against Cincinnati. Congratulations. I think Cincinnati's the second worst team in the league. They're worse than Jacksonville right now.
Yeah.
With no quarterback. They are awful.
Without Mixon, without Burrow.
They are awful. So looking at that, props to Dallas, whatever. But looking at San Francisco, the issue you have with Dallas, they can't stop the run. And if there's one thing San Francisco can do, I know Mostert's a bit banged up, but he's now expected to play. He was a full participant, I believe, today. So him and Wilson, two-headed monster there. I know Samuel's out for the year, which is a bit of a problem for the receiving core. I think Ayuk is really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I was wrong about Ayuk. I thought Ayuk wouldn't work out because anytime you draft a guy who immediately needs surgery right after you draft him, I thought that was a massive red flag. He's actually really good. I'll admit I was wrong on Ayuk. But you got him. Kittle's probably not going to play in this game, even though they activated him again. Not sure why. He got no shot at a playoff berth. But, yeah, I'm not taking Dallas. I'll take San Francisco because I just think that Shanahan's so much of a better coach than McCarthy. It's not even close.
So you're saying that the Nick Mullins absolutely leads them to victory there?
The Nick Mullins hype train is pulling back into the station. That's what I'm saying. He is so bad.
I just don't want any part of this game.
I bring up Mullins every week because they keep bringing him out there, and it's just the definition of insanity.
You know what? I'll ride the Niners with you. I hate this Cowboys team so much.
I don't think Cowboys can stop the run, so that's kind of the main logic there.
I'm with you. Hey, speaking of those Bengals, how about those Bengals as they get to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Scott? Now I've got looks like BetOnline has pulled the line down for this one, but
I'm surprised you're talking about this one. There's a couple of other games I see before it on the rotation.
What am I at here? Hang on.
I see Rams Jets as the next game on the rotation.
Oh, you're right. How did I not? Yeah, I didn't have that one. That's weird. Yeah.
In fact, I see 4 games before that one. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I've got. That's weird. I totally missed the. All right. So I've got. Jets Rams. Rams 17.5, Scott. 17.5. That is so many points.
It's a lot.
But these Jets are. What are they?
They're bad.
They're awful. They're
bad. They're the worst team I've seen in my lifetime.
That is saying something.
Well, your lifetime's been longer than mine, but I think this team's worse than the winless Lions. I think it's worse than the winless Browns. Winless Browns actually close because you got Deshaun Kaiser against Darnold. That's actually kind of close.
Yeah.
And you also got Hugh Jackson versus Adam Gase, which is a next level coaching matchup if they would ever somehow hypothetically face off. Some space-time continuum thing. But I think it's a lot of points. And I know the Rams played on Thursdays. They have a couple extra days of rest. Am I nuts for kind of liking the Jets plus 17.5?
Yeah, no, because it's so many damn points, Scott.
And I've seen the Rams play at home. They're terrible offensively at home. For some reason, the Rams are just not good at scoring points at home all year long.
Well, the Jets haven't been great at scoring points anywhere.
Correct, but they're consistent. No, but the point is, if you're laying 17.5, you kind of want the Rams to break, 30?
See, the thing is, I think the Rams are going to run the ball.
They should, which should eat up a ton of clock.
Right. So I think if the Jets can put up 14,
they're golden.
I think they're golden. I think they cover easily.
I don't know if they can put up 14 because the Patriots scored 3.
But
then again, Cam Newton can't throw.
The smallest of small leans to the Jets.
I think I would just lean under.
Now, that's not awful because the Jets aren't going to score.
Yeah. And the Rams could score 30, and you're thinking to yourself, all right, cool.
It could be a pipe dream to think the Jets get to 14.
Could be.
Okay.
I'll lean to the under because this Rams defense is ferocious.
Yeah, it's a solid play, too. Yeah, I'd probably lean a little harder under.
But I know for a fact I'm not taking the 17 with the Rams.
No, I'm not laying 7. Instead, I got 17 to hook.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
So I'm definitely not laying that. All right. I've got where are we at here?
I see Philly, Arizona as the next game.
All right. Yeah, Eagles at Cards. Cards throwing 7 to Philadelphia.
Yeah, about.
Yeah, no, just no.
I like Philly. Plus the 7. It's a matter of, I think Arizona's the better team, of course, but it could be another situation where a new quarterback shows up and he looks really, really good for the first 4 weeks or so. And then you break out the film, you break out the special meetings to prepare, and then he looks awful. And I think Jalen Hurts might fit into that category because he caught the Saints completely off guard. He had over 100 yards rushing. And Arizona's defense, not very good. I know they were good last week. Congratulations. You ended up beating up an injured Daniel Jones. I'm proud of you. But I think Philly's getting disrespected here with the spread. Because whether or not you like Hurts, he definitely provided a spark. They should have probably went to him a month ago, but he provided a spark. And I think getting 7 here against an Arizona team whose defense has been very underwhelming at various points of the season, I'm going to go Philly.
Philly's defense has been okay. They certainly stepped up last week.
One of the most interesting spreads, because I thought Arizona would be around 4.5. 6.5, 7 seems way too high for me.
People are still buying high on this Cards team.
It's either that or they're still selling on Philly and they think last week was a fluke.
That's possible too. I think Jalen Hurts gives this team a totally different look.
I think he gives them enough of a different look to lose the game by 4.
Yeah, I don't think it's a long-term effect.
No, they're going to get the film on him and realize he can't throw down the sidelines. But, yeah. I mean, until then, I don't exactly think that Arizona's defensive game plan is going to be too sharp because it hasn't been sharp against really anybody all year long.
I think the Eagles can bottle that defense up enough. Cards have kind of been fading here.
They beat the Giants, but I'm not going to overreact to a game against the Giants.
No, and, I think Murray's been hurt. I think Murray got hurt.
Is. He started running a bit more, though, against the Giants, which is definitely a good sign.
Yeah.
But I got to take the points here.
Okay.
I think you agree.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles and the points. Again, it's not a game I love, but
yeah,
I'll play that. I've got Chiefs Saints next up. Or what are you at?
Yes.
Okay.
Big news in this game today.
Big news in this game. Drew Brees is going to be back, everybody, after his 11 broken ribs, lung damage. He's back just in time to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs 3-point road favorite right here, Scott. What do you got?
Give me the Chiefs. I don't care who's the quarterback for the Saints. You're getting the Chiefs at this low of a number. New Orleans could probably win the game based on how the spread is indicated, but I mean, the Chiefs have won 21 of their last 22 games. This team's unstoppable. I know that they haven't been covering that well with the spread this low. Like, I'm going to trust Breeze after 2 months off against the defending champions. No, I'll take the Chiefs.
We'll play the under 52 in this one, Scott. I think that New Orleans defense is going to have a bit of an answer for the Chiefs. I think this is going to be a struggle for them, and I like the under right here. I think Breeze is probably has some rust that he has to knock off. Plus, if you remember back, he wasn't exactly setting the world on fire when he got hurt.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not sold on that much. I know that, of course, he's a massive upgrade over Hill, who can't throw, but I don't think Breeze is still this guy that they remember him being. He's just not.
No. I'll
give me the Chiefs.
All right. I'll play the under 52 there. Browns Giants. That's going to be the night game, right? We have one more day game that we missed. What do we got? We had Cincinnati the Steelers, right?
No, we got everything. This is the last game. This is the last game that we, besides the Pittsburgh Cincinnati game, which is Monday night, which we'll talk about on Monday.
Oh, okay. That's why. That's why I had. Okay, cool. So yeah, they got the Browns with the Giants. Giants catching 6.5 from.
You know how big of a game this is? It's the Freddie Kitchens revenge game.
I know it got flexed into this spot. How about that?
Yeah, but you know Freddie Kitchens is calling plays now because Garrett is COVID.
Oh, that's right.
The stars are aligning for a nice 4th and 8 draw play.
Yeah,
the stars are aligning.
Yeah, I'm.
I like the Browns.
You know what? I like.
I was going to lean to the Giants, but Bradbury being out is huge because Bradbury is a really, really good corner. I think that's a serious miss for the Giants there. I think this game will be close. Am I thrilled about laying this amount of points with Cleveland on the road? No. But the Giants offensively with Daniel Jones last week, not very good. Cleveland's defense not very good either. But it's just a matter of looking at this matchup and going, the Giants defense without Bradbury, I think, is going to take a huge step backwards for me. I'll lean to Cleveland, but I'm really not happy about it.
Well, the question is, can Baker take advantage of it?
I think he can. Baker's actually playing the best football of his career.
Well, can the Giants stop the run? And that's the real question.
Probably not.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah.
Do you agree, by the way? Is this the best stretch that Baker's had in his career?
I would think so. I would think so. Yeah.
I'm not fading him in this spot.
And it hasn't been fantastic, but he's certainly looked like the quarterback they thought.
He's looked like a starting NFL quarterback.
Yeah, he's thrown for 700 yards last 2 weeks against 2 pretty good defenses against Baltimore and Tennessee.
The Tennessee's a bit of a wash because I don't think they're a good defense. But
yeah, not banged up. You're right. The days of Tennessee being a good defense are pretty.
They're numbered
on the IR, but I'll take. I'll go the other way here. I'm gonna take.
I don't blame you. I think that it's a lot of points, but I do think Bradbury being out's a big deal.
I do too, but I think they can cover for that.
And I think the Kitchens calling plays thing is overrated. I don't think it matters. I know people are going to say, "Oh, Kitchens is going to be an idiot." Yeah, they also got through Jason Garrett for the first 14 weeks.
Yeah, it's a different system.
I'm just fading Daniel Jones because he's clearly not 100%. He got killed last week.
Yeah, and he's still officially questionable for this one. You know, everybody thinks he's going to go.
I think Colt McCoy might be better at this point, not because of the fact that Jones, when healthy, might be better, but Jones clearly isn't at 100%. It looks like they rushed him back from the hamstring injury, and now they're just like, we're kind of stuck here because we're fighting for a playoff spot. We got to use our starting quarterback, but yet they don't realize that Colt McCoy right now is better than a 60% Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. You're probably getting Jones 65 to 70% maximum.
Yeah,
and I think Colt McCoy is better than that. But having said that, I'll take the Giants.
Okay.
I just think the Browns are due for a letdown.
Could be.
All right, there you go. That's a show, everybody. And it should be we got some fun games. We got some real turds as we usually do, especially this time of year as teams' motivation starts coming into play or lack thereof. But it should be a lot of fun. Any final thoughts on the NFL card, Scott?
No, hopefully got some good games. I know we're going to talk about the Steelers game, that thrilling Steelers-Bengals game for Monday night on Monday. But yeah, hopefully turns out to be some pretty good games on Saturday and Sunday.
All right, very good. And of course, as always, if you're looking for deep dives into all these NFL games, make sure you stop by, check out winnersandwhiners.com. It is the #1 predictive analysis site anywhere on the internet. And of course, make sure that you like and subscribe, do that video thing. We appreciate it. As always, drop us a comment. Let us know what you're on. And we always like to see what you guys have got cooked up for your NFL plays as well. So for myself, for Scott Reichel, and for all of us over here at winnersandwhiners.com, wishing you guys nothing but the best this weekend. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.